Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Full Compass Full Access webinar where we bring you the industry experts to talk about the subjects you want to learn about. A couple housekeeping things before we get into everything here. We are recording this, so those of you that are watching live and you have to duck out, don't worry, you'll get a copy of the recording. It'll also be posted on the Full Compass website. Just go to fullcompass.com and navigate to the Gearcast channel, or go onto our YouTube channel, search for Full Compass there, and we will have a recording of that up in a couple of days. For those of you live, we also have a question and answer feature. Go ahead and use that and ask us any questions. So this is your chance to speak to an industry expert about treating your room for the acoustics. And speaking of industry experts, easy for me to say. We have David Guidish with us today. David, why don't you flip on your camera there, and we'll say hello to everybody.
Hello. Can you see me?
So, good to have you with us. This is great.
No, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we've never had a webinar on treating rooms for acoustics, so this is fantastic, and just love all your products. I have to ask you on the bio that we had posted for you, it has David Shuu Guidish. Where does the Shuu come from?
Oh boy, you had to ask that question, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I was prior to coming to radio and Primacoustic, I was a guitar tech, toured all over the world and things like that. And when I first started, well, in that industry, a lot of people have nicknames, right? So, and I didn't have one when I first started. And I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible because we got to get to the important stuff. But
Yes.
When I first started, I was kind of a utility guy with this band I was with, and I also sold merch during the show. And we were in Birmingham, Alabama, and I had started talking to a nice young lady at the show, and she wanted me to hang out that night and stay the night with her and things like that. And I was like, okay, cool, this is great. But anyway, we had the next day off in Atlanta, and she was going to drive me to Atlanta. But then I started thinking, I'm like, this is more pain than anything. So I decided to, I kind of blew her off, said maybe next time, I appreciate it and everything. And anyway, fast forward through the night, we got loaded up, everything, got to Atlanta, got to our hotel, and it was already the sun was coming up, and the birds were chirping outside the room. We were in a motel. It was, not very good accommodations or whatever. And I told one of the guys in the room, I'm like, can you go shoo those birds away so we can get to sleep? And he's like, that's it. That's your name, Shoo, just like you shooed that girl away tonight. And I'm like, oh boy. And everybody else in the room was like, oh, that's perfect. And so he actually put it with 3 U's. So it's SHUUU. I thought the third U was a little redundant, so it bumped it down to 2. And it's been my nickname ever since 1995, that was. So
Literally everybody in industry calls you that as well.
Absolutely, yeah. When I came to Radial and in Primacoustic, I asked if I could keep it, and they said, of course. It's a lot easier to call up and say, hey, it's Shuu than David. You got to scroll through all the Davids, right? So, and the funny thing is too, the guy that gave me the name and insisted on 3 U's, I saw him a couple years into my tenure here, and I showed him my business card, and he freaked out that it was actually on my business card, and he gave up the 3rd U, so now it's officially just 2 U's. So.
Officially,
yeah,
a double U.
Yeah, I've even thought
with
about
a
going
space
back
in between.
Yeah, right. I've even thought about going back to David, just David, and nobody at the office here will allow me to do that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dig into the meat of this. Let's dig into this. So every single room is different. We all know that, right?
Yeah.
And anything that's in that room affects it.
Correct.
Why should somebody want to treat their space for acoustics?
There's a number of things. One, of course, it's going to improve communication and intelligibility in the room, and heightens focus and productivity, especially in office spaces and classrooms. On the classroom side of thing, it's going to help improve a lot of the noises and things that are bouncing off the wall. Say there, there's some kids that have sound sensitivities and things like that, and it'll help with their anxiety. It helps give clarity to mixes in the studio, which is very important in our world, especially with radio and things like that, and just reduce noise disturbances within the rooms. And aesthetic wise, it creates a professional look. I keep looking around because I'm in our boardroom with tons of it in here. So, and behind you as well, that's our stuff as well that we did years ago. I totally forgot about all that stuff that we did, but it's been in there for a long time and serving the purpose, right? So, but yeah, there's, basically taking care of the disturbances within the room, and for houses of worship, restaurants, conference rooms. We've been getting in a lot of restaurants lately. So it really helps with being able to hear the person across from the table from you. So yeah, those are
the speech intelligibility is super important.
Yeah.
Anybody that's hard of hearing, like myself, you can go into, and I got to clear this up. When I say room, that literally could be just a small room like this, or it could be a huge studio. It could be an atrium. It could be a church. It could be from everything to small to huge.
Yeah.
And when you get into those bigger spaces, it's just there's so much slapback and reverb that's happening, and it just muddies up everything, and it's difficult to hear people.
Yeah.
And I do want to point out also that if you are doing some sort of recording, you're stuck with that sound of the room once you record it. So I can see how the sound treatment is absolutely important to get it to where you have a very clean sound as you're laying it down.
Absolutely.
Also, like a coffee shop or something or restaurant that's very busy, a lot of chatter and so forth.
Yeah.
How that makes it.
The espresso machines and things like this, everything, everyday life that you don't even know, is really creating all this havoc in your brain, in your ears, right? And getting those types of places treated, it just makes your life, just less stressful, right? And you don't even know it really.
Right. And one of the things that I've noticed that anytime I go into a room like this is, it's quieter, but it's a whole feeling as well.
Yeah.
If you go into a restaurant that does not have that sound treatment of some kind, it's very noisy and it's unsettling.
Correct.
Once you have that treatment, it makes it much more cozy, right? It's a quieter, more comfortable. You can hear the person next to you very easily. It's kind of a closer feeling.
Yep.
So beyond just hearing, it's a feeling as well. So
correct. I agree 100%. And it's funny too, because in restaurants there's two ways of looking at it. Some restaurateurs want what you're describing, right? But some actually like it when it's too lively and loud, because then it gets their turns going and gets their turns, the tables turned over, right? So they get more people in and out. So it depends on the vibe you want. Do you want that,
sure,
hurry up and get out, or do you want the people to come in, enjoy their time and things like that, right? So and create a good quiet environment. So yeah, two different ways to look at it. I like what you said.
Yeah. So I got to ask this because I've had several people ask my team this as well. Is soundproofing the same as sound absorption?
No. Excuse me. Well, that's a very good question, because we get it all the time. We'll have people call in and ask us, what do I need to do to soundproof my room? And we have to clarify, do you really want it soundproofed, or do you want to treat your room, right? Because it is very different. If you're more concerned with sound getting out or getting into the room, you're dealing with a soundproofing situation. Whereas if your main concern is the speech clarity, echo, reverberation, and things like that within the room, that's going to be the sound treatment and sound absorption, which is what we primarily do, right? And then treating each one is entirely different as well, right? Because if you want to treat, for soundproofing, the products are usually a lot heavier, denser, more rigid than normal building materials, right? So it involves rebuilding walls sometimes, or or even whole rooms. So that adds extra costs and extra layers of sound blocking, drywall, things like that, and gets really expensive. Whereas sound absorption, it's just the panels that are on the walls, right? And it's going to treat the things, and you can do it post anytime you want, post construction, right? So it's a different process essentially. So
So let's why don't we dig into to see what Primacoustic offers for
sure,
the
sure,
sound treatment that, and
yeah,
then after that we're gonna we actually did a sound treatment to our training center, and
yeah,
I have a couple videos of doing the install and then an A/B testing of what that sound was like before and after. So
awesome, awesome.
stick around, everybody, for that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to see that too, because I haven't heard the thing or heard it since you've done it, right? So, one thing I do want to
I did use you in the video too. So
pardon.
I used an example when you were here
Great,
training
great,
when
great.
there wasn't treatment, and
Yeah,
then
there
after
wasn't,
seeing that
no.
presentation, you inspired me to treat the room much better. So, all right. So, what do you,
Um,
can you show everybody what kind of panels you have and
yeah.
some designs kind of thing?
Well, one thing I wanted to just touch on real quick before I got to that, if you don't mind, is and
Yeah.
it leads us to that, is a lot of people, you'll see a lot of rooms with the egg crate or the foam on the walls and things like that, right? Or
Yes.
it's kind of cut into the anechoic wedge pattern kind of thing, and sure, that it's okay, but honestly, I mean, when you see that cut pattern in the foam and stuff, all it is really it's a creative way to cut two panels out of one block of foam, really. And essentially is what you're doing when you do that is you're reducing that density by 50%, and the density is what you need to absorb the wider range of frequencies in a room, right? With foam's it's roughly about 1.6 pounds per cubic foot density, so not very dense. And whereas our Broadway panels, which you have behind you and in what you're going to show here in a little bit, those are 6 pound per cubic foot glass wool, so it's a lot more dense. So it's about 4 times more dense, right? So what that means is when you fill your room full of that foam, the density, the less density, it's not going to absorb a wide range of frequencies. You'll take care of those highs and some of the mids, and you'll get rid of the reverberation, sure, but you're not going to absorb any low end. So filling your room with foam, you're essentially going to give yourself a different problem than what you started with, right? So you want to have that dense material to absorb that low end and the highs and the mids, just again, the wide range of frequencies, right? And not only that, safety. A lot of foam isn't rated properly. Most foam is rated Class B, and it's not really accepted anymore insurance-wise and things like that. Where our stuff is Class 1 or Class A, so that's everything we do is it meets those for fire retardant and thing or fire spread and things like that, right? So, and lastly, and sorry, I'm trying to get into a little science of this before I get into the panels, right? So
Hmm.
hopefully folks understand a little bit. The other thing is the NRC, which is noise reduction coefficient, right? So NRC, it's rated on a scale from 0 to 1. 0 means that it doesn't absorb anything. 1 means it absorbs everything that's coming at it, right? 100% of it. So a typical 1-inch piece of foam that I was talking about has an NRC of about 0.4. So it's only absorbing 40% of that sound that's coming to it. Where our 2-inch, 3-inch Broadway panels, that's absorbing, it has an NRC of 1. So it is absorbing everything that's coming at it. So you're going to get a lot better performance than you would out of foam, right? So plus it looks a little better and things like that, right? Our Ecoscapes panels, which I'll get into, that has an NRC value of 0.75. So 75% of everything coming to that is going to absorb it, or 75% of the sound coming in is going to get absorbed. So still much better than the foam. So my recommendation, whether or not you use Primacoustic at all, just don't do foam. That's just what I say, right? If you're
Well,
on a super thin,
there's a
pardon?
couple of terrible incidences that happened with fire
Well, yeah, that's
in the
actually
industry.
the is it Rhode Island? The whole what's the band name? No, I'm forgetting.
Was
But
that
anyway,
White Snake?
no,
Great White.
Great White. I knew it was White something. Yeah, Great White.
Great White.
Yeah, that was terrible, and it was because all that stuff was foam in there, right? It wasn't fire rated and wasn't treated, and that's actually what brought on that Class B not being accepted anymore,
Mm-hmm.
in most places, right? So, but yeah, pardon me. So yeah, that's the kind of the science behind some things, right? And what we're doing in some of our panels that I'm going to show you. First off, what I'll show you is, before I share my screen here, is the Broadway panels that we have. These guys have been around the longest, and we've been doing the most business with. And you can see behind Jim there, the black panels there. Those are all Broadway panels. And what those are they're fabric wrapped. This is just a sample I have here, and it's got the plastic over it. Sorry, but fabric wrapped. Glass wool, 6 pound per cubic foot. Like I said, it's got resin hardened edges, so it's going to keep the shape nice, and it's not going to, get smashed or anything on the edges. From general use or whatever, you're going to go and smash it with a hammer. Of course, it's going to do that, but hopefully nobody in your studio or your environment is going to be using a hammer on the panels. On the back, it's all micro mesh wrapped, so you're not going to have to worry about touching anything or getting itchy or wearing gloves when you're installing it. So, but we have some different sizes. We have 2x4s, 1x4s, 2x2s, 1x1s, and 4x4s. They come in 2 inches and 3 inches thick. I'm going to actually share my screen now. Now I'm going to show you some of these here that we've done.
While you're doing that, just a reminder to everybody: there's a question and answer feature. Go ahead and ask questions at any time, and then
Okay.
I'll serve those on to you then, Shuu.
Yeah, please do. And if I'm flying through, let me know them. Yeah, I'll share this here. Let me know when you could see it.
Yep, see it.
Oh,
Looks good
all
to
right.
me.
So these are some of the Broadway panels, and basically, I'm giving you some examples of some of the installs that we've done in different kind of situations, different types of rooms. What you can see here are Broadway panels. Can you see my cursor, my
Yep.
mouse? Okay, so
Yep.
these are 2x4 panels, but they put 2 together to make them a little bit taller. And then these are 1x1 panels, the scatter blocks here. These are in gray. They come in gray, beige. Sorry, beige has been discontinued. Gray, black, linen, which is a lighter kind of beige, Arctic white fabric wrapped, and then we have paintable panels, and I'll get into those here in just a minute. You can see this is a church that we did here. Some more of the Broadway panels. Again, kind of what I was talking about. This is what do you call it? A lecture hall, and that we did. And again, helps with the intelligibility and everything. You can see all those panels up on the wall. Really helps with hearing the professor and everything what's happening in the presentation and things. Of course, studio, which is very big for us. This is actually Tommy Lee's studio that we did. Those are Broadway panels there. Did his live room, did the control room, did all the rooms there quite some time ago. I couldn't tell you if he still lives in that house or not, but anyway, it was Tommy's house there. Another scenario here that some people don't think of in fire halls. We've done a number of these, because in that garage there, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be very reverberant when they're making the announcement over the PA and things like that. It really helped. This was Riverview Fire Department. I can't remember exactly where that is, but yeah, I don't do a lot of the installs, so I don't remember exactly where all these are from. But room kits is something that we have. These are kits that come in everything you need in one box or 2 boxes, depending on how big the room kits are, right? We're gonna have a London 8, a London 10, 12, and 16, all depending on your room sizes. And that's going to come with the panels. This one here that you're looking at is a London 12. So it has the control columns. It's going to have 2 bass traps that come with it, and then all the scatter blocks as well. So everything you need, all the hardware, the mounting hardware, things like that. Really cool way to get your rooms, your home studio set up real quick, easy, one-stop shop kind of thing, right? This one here, this is a Clarity kit. This one's made for conference rooms. All the panels come white, and you'll see these are the 2x2 panels and 1x4 panels, and it's only white in these to make it you know, just more professional, classy kind of looking for boardrooms and things like that, right?
Sure.
On the Broadway side of things, we have clouds as well, right? This one here, I don't know if anybody's heard of Keb Mo. This is Keb Mo's studio.
Oh yeah, very cool.
Yeah, these obviously the Broadway panels here. These are the clouds. These ones here, the Stratus, they have the aluminum rails on them, so it gives a little bit of industrial feel. Pretty cool. Vibe hanging over the desk and things like that, just to make sure any noises in above your monitors and things like that, control any reverberation in that area. These ones here, Stratus clouds, you can hardly see them. They're here, but this is in a pub, and again, a good way to get rid of any of that reverberation, that noise, that echo and things like that. And you hardly even notice they're there, right? They're not intrusive.
Right.
You know, they have them hung on the ceiling, right up against the ceiling. This is a spin class, obviously going to be, or a spin, you know, spin place. There's going to be a lot of noise in there with the instructor and all the cycling and people grunting and
blends
moaning.
right in. Look at that.
Pardon?
That absolutely blends right in. That's amazing.
Yeah, you can see them right
like
up
I'm
here.
looking through here. Where are they? Oh yeah, there they are.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So let's see here. What do we get here? Paintables. I mentioned paintables earlier.
Oh, those are fantastic.
So these panels are white. They come white, and you could leave them white, like we saw in that the Clarity slide I showed. But what these are, you could either paint them or print on them. If you're going to paint them, we recommend a light latex spray, because obviously the thicker paint you go on them, the more reflective they're going to become, right?
Right.
If you want to paint on them, we say, well, we don't say, you have to go to a printer that has a UV flatbed printer that can handle a 2-inch thick piece of material, and we'll help find that printer if you don't know one in your area. But as you can see, this is a winery up here in BC. There's plenty of those around, and this is one of their tasting rooms. And yeah, you can see what we printed on there. This one here, obviously for this of, yeah, really, really cool.
So cool.
You know, what I want to do when you know, I get the okay for it is in my house, in my theater. I don't have really a theater room, but where I watch all my movies, I want to put some up and put movie posters. So you can put up like Scarface and Jaws and Back to the Future or whatever, right?
Album covers is what I would do.
Well, funny thing is with that, in NAMM a couple years ago, we had the 2x2s this size, and when we first started showing them at our NAMM booth, we had album covers on there, but they looked so good, people thought it was just artwork. After the first day, so Friday morning, we had to put signs up saying that this is acoustic treatment, because people didn't understand it because it looks so good, right? So, you know, towards the end here, maybe I'll show you. I got 3 big ones, 4x4 panels right across from me that have all the artwork on it, right? So, but yeah, that's the Broadway stuff. That's some of the stuff that we do there. Let's see where we at. As far as hanging the Broadway panels, which I'm sure Jim is accustomed to now that he did the
yes
the install. We have a couple different impalers. It sounds very evil, whatnot, but you are in fact impaling the panels. We have the push-on impalers here. We have surface impalers. Really, the only difference between these, obviously, the push on, you're just going to push straight on. The surface ones, you're going to have up about, I think it's like 3/4 of an inch, half an inch. Do you remember,
Yep,
Jim? Half inch,
half
yeah.
inch.
And then you just slide it down, and they're not going to. The panels aren't going to come off of the push on, but if you have any doubt that somebody may want to try to pull a panel off or whatever, the surface impalers are the way to go. We do have corner impalers that give a 45-degree angle. So if you want to make just a regular panel, flat panel like this into a bass trap, because you're going to get bass in the corners, you can just use one of these panels, a regular flat panel, and use the corner impalers, and it just makes it and gives you that air gap in the corner, and it's going to absorb all that and trap all that bass frequencies back there, right? So, and then the offset impalers will give you a little bit of room behind those panels, and essentially making your panel a little bit thicker, and it's going to absorb even more low-end frequencies back there, and with that air gap behind the panels, right? So, the clouds, they come with, you can use either the helix, corkscrew to hang your panels. The helix are going to go in the back of the panel and hang up like this. The corkscrew are good for if you want to have, we have other panels for baffles that are going to be wrapped all the way around. And you can screw the corkscrew into this edge here, and then the baffles will hang up in the ceiling that way. And then the slip knots, I love these things so much, especially when we build the booth at NAMM and things, because we used to use just aircraft wire, and if it wasn't, the panels weren't even, if they're hanging a little bit funky, you'd have to unwire or unwrap the wire and whatnot. Whereas the slip knot, you just pull it down. It's so easy. There's a little tab right here that helps you there it is, little tab right there to push in, and you just pull the wire through, and it locks right in. So easy. I love those things.
So then you can adjust it as
it's so much easier.
Get it perfect.
Get it perfect, and then you just wrap the wire up on top of the panel, and it's made life. A lot of the installers have called us, and they've been thanking us for years. We've had these, but they love them, right? So, now getting into this is a newer line for us, the Ecoscapes, and what these are PET panels. PET is recycled plastic, recycled plastic bottles or Coke bottles, and so they're for the environmentally friendly folks. They're 100% recyclable over and over again. So if you want to get rid of them and recycle them, you can do that. It doesn't create waste in landfills, things like that. These ones, I don't know if I can't remember if I mentioned with the Broadway, we do 2 and 3 inch thick panels for Broadway. With Ecoscapes, they're only 1 inch thick, and come in a number of different colors here, which I'll show here. You see the 9 different colors we have. The cool thing with these PET panels is you can see it's the same material and same color all the way through. Hopefully you guys can see that there. With it being that same material all the way through, you can cut it any shape you want, any form you want, and custom make it into different designs on your walls. Whereas with the Broadway panels, you can see it's fabric wrapped and it has that micro mesh. So if you cut it, you're going to have issues. Obviously, you're not going to have that hardened edge. You're going to have to re-wrap it with fabric. Whereas the PET panels, you can cut it any shape, any design you want. Very customizable. I would recommend a fine tooth saw. But yeah, really cool. As you can see, all the different colors here on the screen I have here. I just realized I'm probably, that was a really small video of me down there showing that stuff, because I'm showing this, sharing my screen, but hopefully you guys
no worries. We can see it.
Yeah. All right. We have Ecoscapes also come with clouds. We have 2 different shapes of those guys. We have either square or round. We have 3 different sizes of the round, 2 different sizes of the square. There's some of the round ones there, all 3 different sizes. Comes with all the mounting hardware, things like that as well. So it makes it easy to mount that.
Slat wall.
Slat wall. Yeah. We basically, with these, we have a thin piece of PET behind it, and then this is MDF, but it's has a thin layer of real wood veneer on it. So it's going to look like real wood, and you can clean it like real wood. We have 4 different colors: oak, pine, fog, and onyx, and have it on this wall over here. So we are not only the manufacturers, we are also clients, as the old whatever Rogaine commercial, if anybody's old enough to remember those. Or Hair Club for Men, that's what it was, Hair Club for Men. But we actually do use this stuff ourselves. So really cool. As you can see, gives actually, I think I have a picture of it here. This is the boardroom upstairs from me here. So you can kind of see the this is the fog color, and which is the same that we have here. Actually, while I have this too, you can see some of the printable panels here. So this is upstairs, right? Nice. And then this is the boardroom I'm sitting at right now. This is to my left here. So that's the fog color, right? So
nice.
Different aesthetic. It's cool because it gives absorption and diffusion essentially.
Yeah, you know, room designing, you can keep that in mind and make it look.
Yeah.
You know, especially with those panels, you can cut to any shape you want. You can have an artist just go crazy with that. So I want to acknowledge Chris. Chris has a question for us, and it's about the calculation. You want to hold on that one a little bit, or should we just ask them right off the bat?
You know what? We can get into that because I just see, you know, what time we're getting at. We're getting, you know, running.
We're at 30 minutes, 32 minutes in.
All right. Yeah. So let's get to that.
All right. So the question is, could you describe the process of how to calculate the point of reflection and or reverberation time of a room like a rectangle church sanctuary, and how the size and quantity of panels that would be required based on the size?
Yep. Well, we do have a calculator on our website, which I'm going to get into and show you guys here in a second, which this would be a great segue for that. The RT, that gets into some things with acousticians and things like that, calculating that. As far as, especially when it's a big room that you're talking about. Was it Chris? I'm sorry. Was that?
Yes.
Yeah, Chris.
Yes.
As far as points of reflection, I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller scenario for you. Hopefully this helps a little bit, right? So finding a point of reflection in a room, let's just say it's a home theater, right? And you're putting up your panels for the first time. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here so we can.
There we go.
Am I back? We good?
Yep.
All right. So you're in a want to get your home theater going, right? And you have your TV screen there and your speakers. What you'll do is you'll have somebody yourself. You'll be sitting in the main listening point, hopefully centered between the right left walls, right? And you'll have a friend or somebody, family member, go down the wall with a mirror. And as you're going down the wall, as soon as you see your speaker in that reflection, that's going to be your first reflection point. And then that's where you hang your first panel. And then you just start hanging it evenly spaced out. I would say no more than twice the width of the panels that you're using. So if you have, you know, 2 foot wide panels, you don't want to go any more than 4 feet wide, because you want to keep that evenly spaced about that distance. And then the same thing on the left, you take the mirror down the side, and then you'd find that reflection point, and then that's where your first panel is on that side, and then again evenly space it out, and it's going to work wonders for you. You know, you think it's you know, like I like to say a lot, it's not rocket science, because it isn't, right? And I mean, if you're doing a critical listening room, yes, that's a little different. You might need an acoustician to come in there, but a general home theater, a gymnasium, gymnatorium, things like that, church, even if you have things spaced out evenly, it's gonna make a big difference, huge difference, right? And on that note, we recommend about anywhere from 15 to 25% coverage of the room. Anything less than 15, you're not really going to hear much of a difference. And then the more, if you have too much treatment, it's really going to sound dead, and it's not going to sound right to your ears. It's going to sound very odd and very weird, because you still need to have some liveliness to the room. You just don't want it too lively where it's you know, everything's bouncing everywhere. So I hope that helps a little bit.
Yeah, so you talked about the 15 to 20%. How do you calculate that? Do you take the size of the wall space, total
Yeah.
square footage of the wall space versus
Well,
the panels, or how is
what
that?
we have, it's to really do it. It's essentially, I'd like to show you in the calculator here.
So you have a calculator. Is this something that's online?
It's on the website here. Let me see if I could show you.
Great question, by the way, Chris.
It is fantastic
It's a
question.
very, it's a full question. It's got a lot
Yes.
in there.
Okay. Let me see if can you see this
I can
screen?
see your website. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, let's see here. Okay. Okay. So the calculator here. I'm going to hit start. And,
Not seeing that. We're just seeing still seeing just the website, the opening or the website,
oh, really?
the very
Okay.
front page of the
Show this
website.
tab. Okay. There we go.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to go back. So you saw where I went back. It says I'm based in the USA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So you hit start. And then there's all these different options. Art space.
So you have house of
Corporate.
worship there. Let's see that
Okay.
going along with Chris's.
Okay. Let's do contemporary live music. Continue. Jim, give me some dimensions here. What do you think?
Oh, 50-foot long. It's a
All right.
smaller church, right?
By.
By let's say 40 foot,
Okay.
and then
All
tall 15 foot.
right. So there you go. Uh, with that, let's do walls and ceiling. It's going to calculate for you. And here, the calculator is going to tell you what you need for this room. So we have 4 boxes of the broadband. It's going to go on the walls. And then we have 5 boxes of altos on the ceiling. So this is the standard. This is what's going to get us started. That's about 17% in this calculator. And then
Mm-hmm.
we also have excellent, which we have more panels, obviously, more broadband panels on the wall, more boxes of altos clouds hanging. And then we have exceptional. So kind of good, better, best we have here. And it's just adding the panels essentially, right? So that's going to let you know what you need for a room that size, and that's going to treat that room. So I believe it's about 17, 20, and 22 roughly is what these are. And then obviously this is the price it's going to cost. The cool thing about this calculator, again, it's on our website. It's right at the top right-hand corner of our website. Anybody can go and get an idea of what you're going to need for that room. We also have a little bit more in-depth calculator that we use and our Primacoustic people use that will it'll probably be right around the same as this, but just so you have an idea, because I'll tell you, so many people will come to us and say, I want to treat my sanctuary, but I only have $1,500 or $2,000. And they come and see this and they'll say it's $7,500 for the standard. Now they know where they stand essentially, right?
Right.
So gives a good idea. What you can do is view and designer, and this one will probably be fairly easy because it's just a rectangle room. There we go.
Got
Okay.
it.
You see that now?
Yep. Yes. Going to jump into this. Let me show this real quick. When we ordered some packages of the Broadway panels and the control panels, and this is for our training center. I'm going to show this. This is a corner piece that comes in the packing. As a carpenter, growing up, my father was a carpenter. He always told me if you're going to do multiple things, create a little rig that you can just mark everything quickly, and then if it's a repetitive, you can go down there. So we just took one of the quarter panels and used this, marked everything that we needed to mark as we went down the panel of the wall, and then just use that little side piece. It turns out to be extremely handy. So let's take a look at this this video here. This is a time lapse of us going through. We've already done the design on paper. We laid it out, marked kind of where each panel was. Now Declan's going through using that form that we made, and he's marking all of the pertinent spots to where the impalers are going to go on the wall. He's also marking the outer edges and everything where everything's going to be put. And as he gets that all marked, obviously there's a little coffee break there, it looked like. He's then going to, from that point, he jumps to grabbing the impalers themselves and all the marks that he made on the wall and marking all of the holes that we need for the impalers. He's making a few more marks there. We'll see him start to go through on the left side. Again, this is our training center. You're going to see a video of this a little bit later. He's got an impaler in his hand. He's going through marking every single spot there. Then I come in behind him, and I start to drill the holes in the wall, and we just keep going around like this. So we've never done this before, and it actually turned out being very easy to do. I'm following behind, drilling the holes, and he's going back over. He's grabbing all of the anchors, tapping those into each one of the holes, and then we put all the impalers up. So I'm going to, let's see, let's jump to the next video quick here, where we put the panels on the wall here. We're taking that little form that we had, holding a level up to it, going a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch just above where the impaler sits, and pulling it down onto the wall. And that worked out absolutely perfectly to as far as an install. And so it was the Broadway panels, the 2x4, and the control panels, which is a 1x4, correct?
Yeah, the control columns, 1x4, yeah.
So another quick video here. This is a before and after. So I took a video clip of a recorded version of a training when you were here.
Oh boy.
And then took a recording of a training after we did the treatment. So, and the presenter, you and the other presenter, are standing in the exact same spot in the room, and we are using a ceiling mic, a conferencing mic, that's picking up all the audio. And this is how we live stream out to all of our salespeople and all of the training sessions. And it's pretty apparent the value of having done the treatment that we did. So let's give this a look and a listen.
So I'm basically going to spend some time today to go over some, the finer points of acoustic treatment, and hopefully teach you a couple things about our product, and then just in general. And I have a couple things at the end that'll hopefully help you.
And Brad with Foreman Marketing here is your local contact. And we're here to help you learn more about data video and sell data video solutions. But if you think about data video, think of us as a live streaming and conferencing solution company.
So I'm basically going to spend some time today to go over some, the finer points of
with Foreman Marketing here is your local contact. And we're here to help you.
So I'm basically going to spend some time today to go over some,
think of us as a live streaming and conferencing solution company.
So first thing I want to make sure you guys know is that dealing with acoustic treatment is not rocket science. Okay.
See?
It's not rocket science.
It's not rocket science. It's not.
And I have to say, it was absolutely way easier than I thought. I was so worried about it.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be very easy. I have to say it does look very menacing when you have all of those impalers on the wall before you put on there.
Yeah.
It's something, and truly, you need to be careful of when you're handling those as well.
Yeah.
You've got them up against the wall. Don't leave a room with bare impalers out there.
especially if you got children.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's real quick. I'm going to show some of the pictures. This is we did 3 walls. We did the left and right and the back wall. And these are just our own design. I'll show you. Here's the back wall. Presenters at the front of the room. Obviously, we want to treat that back wall. We don't have to worry about the wall that he's standing at all. So there's that. Let's see. This is the other shot from the other angle of the purple wall. It's our own design that we came up with. And then the very last shot just from center, showing the whole training center. And it made a world of difference for people that are in the room and the people that are all of our remote employees that we are sending out these live streams to. The clarity is way higher, and I think that came across in the video pretty well.
And it helps the concentration. It helps listening when they have to, and they're trying to learn things. If just the clarity,
Absolutely.
It just helps, you know.
So we ended up with better recordings, better live stream, better experience for everybody that was in there. Sometimes you have a speaker that's not that doesn't speak very loud, and you can hear them much better.
Yeah.
So everything across the board was better with that.
Awesome. No, thank you. It looks great. You guys did a great job. And I think, like you mentioned, you know, you guys have never done it before, and it wasn't that difficult. You know, I made sure when I first started here, I got into it, had some friends, got some panels for their home theaters, and I dove right in. I was like, I have to come help you because I want to learn how to do it and get better at it. And it's not that hard at all.
So here's a question. It says, how do we add custom geometry?
Custom geometry to the panels, I'm assuming.
I'm not sure what they're asking. He added DXF files. I'm not sure what a DXF file.
Unfortunately, I'm not either, so I can't help with that.
So initials TR. If you could add some clarity to that. I'm thinking, I don't know. With us, this pattern, we just laid it out on the wall or on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I had a drawing of the wall, laid it out ourselves, and
he could also
built it from there.
He or she, whoever it is that asked that question, they can definitely email one of your fine sales folks or email us directly. We can discuss that with them and then figure it out what it is, and I can get that question answered for them because I definitely want to get that question. I also want to learn what that file is.
All right, so we do have some clarity. That's an AutoCAD file, and how do you add that to the calculator? Can you add a AutoCAD file to the calculator?
That's a good question. Actually, I don't know. I have not been asked that question before. But that is a great question. That's a valid question. I don't know if there's
let's
a way.
Do this. Why don't you research that?
Yeah.
Offline when we're done with the webinar, and I will. TR, if you just shoot an email to fullaccess@fullcompass.com, I will respond to that. I'll get Shuu to respond to that, and we'll start the conversation and work with you on that one.
Yeah, I'm just going to write that down.
So it's a DXF file, adding that in from AutoCAD into the room calculator that you have there.
I'm just writing this down.
So, okay, we have any other questions out there? This is great. You guys are being interactive. I love that. And I have to, again, say how fantastic and what a difference it has made for us. We tried doing all kinds of processing in the beginning to try and eliminate some of that, and that only goes so far. And then it starts to sound fake. But treating that room did it naturally, and everything sounds natural now and very close. So excellent. As you're hearing them, he's not mic'd up. He does not have you did not have a mic when you're in there. Yeah. You're just talking, and there's a ceiling mic that's picking it up. And it just sounds fantastic. So even got compliments from all of our salespeople on that, how much better it was and easier to hear.
Perfect. Love it.
So and we have a lot of musicians, so they have
good
ear ringing and difficulty hearing.
Well, that too, yeah.
So that was all there. Yeah. We are at the 50-minute mark. Shuu, you
wow.
got anything else for us that you'd like to add at the end here?
No, not really. I mean, I know I ran through some of that fairly quickly, but even me doing it quickly, we ran out of time. So, um, feel free to reach out to your sales folks at Full Compass. Any questions you have. Last thing I will say, obviously, it kind of got messed up on the computer there. There is a room designer on the Primacoustic website as well, so you can spend a lot of time. It's almost like Sims, but for studios and churches and things. You could put everything in there and design your room and send it over to your salesperson at Full Compass, and they can help you get the products you need. Any questions you have, reach out to them, and if they're unable to answer it, they can get with us and whatnot. But hopefully you guys learned a little bit today anyway. And more so than anything, I just want to put everybody at ease. It's not, again, I'm going to say you'll hear it the third time, it's not rocket science. It's you treat the room and spread it out evenly. It's going to make a world of difference, and it's just going to do wonders for your head, for everything. It's great. So
Absolutely. And yeah, as far as reaching out to anybody, for the full access webinar series here, feel free, and this is for anybody live that's here now or watching on YouTube in the future from where we are. Go ahead and email fullaccess@fullcompass.com, and then or visit our GearCast channel. The recording will be up there. And go to fullcompass.com and then navigate to the GearCast channel. We'll have it there. It'll be on YouTube, so a reminder of the recordings that are available for you. If you want to go back and refer to it, watch it again. I know it's so exciting with the two of us here that people, they may have missed some special hint along the way.
yeah,
But I have to say, I have never done an install, and with these, I'm not a professional contractor, and it was very, very easy.
awesome.
Very easy.
Yeah.
They're packed well when they get there. We did a couple of the different combination of the packages, the kits.
Mm-hmm.
The kits come with all the panels, everything you need. Has some instructions. It has the impalers. It has the screws and the anchors. Everything is there. It's just open the box and start going at it once you have your design. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Shuu, thank you so much. Good to see you again.
Yes, good to see you.
This
Thanks
has
for
been
having
wonderful. Yeah, you bet. Look forward to seeing you again sometime in your newly acoustically treated training
me.
center
Can't wait.
for another one of your sessions, and we'll actually be able to hear you much clearer this time.
Awesome.
All right, everybody, have a great afternoon, and we will see you at the next webinar. Take care.
Absolutely. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, everybody, for being here.